So you've been eating literal dust and belly button lint for the past 2 weeks, and yet you're still not making any progress towards your goal of getting shredded. Well, don't worry, my friend. I am a certified former fat ass, and I'm here to help you get through this. It's complicated. There's a million bazillion reasons why this could be happening, and here we have a very scientific diagram of what we're trying to avoid here. Shout out to my boy Wally, by the way. So I've broken down 4 different main reasons, or I guess subset groups of why this might be happening. So the most straightforward reason out of all the ones I'm going to talk about, improperly tracking your calories. Not only is this the most straightforward, it's oftentimes the most common reason why people are eating a very calorie restricted diet, but plateauing on their weight loss or just not seeing the results they expected. So just to get this out of the way, if you're in a calorie deficit, you will lose weight, no matter what. Trust me, you are not the only person on the entire planet who can somehow defy the laws of thermodynamics. If you are, I have a feeling that you should probably hit up the governments of developing countries. You can probably make a lot of money off of them. For starters, be very careful with eating out. Now, full respect to them, this is just an example, but I have a feeling that the fast food employees just aren't getting paid enough to give a shit about if the food they're serving you is accurate to the nutrition label on it. In other words, just by eating out at all, whether it's at a restaurant, fast food, etc., you're taking some kind of risk that the meal you're eating is not going to be accurate to how you're tracking it because you didn't prepare it, you don't know exactly what's in it, you don't know if the fucking grams of french fries you're consuming is actually 200 grams like you tracked it, or if it's actually like 290 grams. The simple and easy solution is just don't eat out at all, and the more convenient solution, if you have a social life unlike me, is going to be when you do eat out, try to stick to restaurants where like you can sit down and eat, and order something like steak with a side of broccoli or like chicken with asparagus. They're single ingredient, like intrinsically healthy foods, and it's going to be pretty hard to get slingshotted way over your calories eating foods like that. And it lets you continue to enjoy social events, eating out, whatever people do in sit down restaurants. I don't really know, I can't afford it. Anyways, a little meal prep goes a long way. Having pre-prepared meals that you can just stick in the microwave, toss in the air fryer, and containers pre-prepared and pre-measured out for you is going to make your life a lot easier. If you want, you can just eat the exact same meals every day, or you can kind of like puzzle piece together with pre-prepared meals, foods that'll let you hit your calories and keep your macros in check. If you're like me and you're really busy, you know, you work a lot, you're probably not going to have time to like sit down and weigh out, 200 grams of chicken breast, done. 200 grams of broccoli, done. And then by the time you're done cooking it, it's time to get busy again. Having it pre-measured and pre-cooked for you to heat up on the go, however this best applies to you during the day, is just going to make things a lot less of a headache. Which leads me to my next point. You need to be very OCD about tracking your calories. You need to have a food scale. It's an absolute game changer. Instead of like eyeballing things or going through like 4 measuring cups a day, you can just set a bowl on the scale, pour the food in it, and you're good to go. It's way easier, way more accurate, and is genuinely like $10 on Amazon. Now you can be a little bit sloppy and go a little bit easier on the OCD-ness of tracking your calories if you do a pretty substantial amount of cardio during your day. The easiest way to do this is by getting a lot of steps in. There's calories in and there's calories out. If your calories out is fucking ridiculous, 3,000 calories, and your calorie goal is like 2,000, then you have a lot more leeway and flexibility to maintain a consistent deficit without going absolutely nuts with tracking your calories. I recommend avoiding high intensity cardio for the sake of recovery, and also low intensity cardio, so a light jog or walking. The incline treadmill is going to be a lot easier to do more consistently and will help you build a better, more stable and consistent routine to follow. Just another little element that's going to help you stay on track. If you want, or you have a need to, like you're really short on time, you only have like 30 to 60 minutes throughout the entire day that you can dedicate towards cardio. In that case, it might be worthwhile to do some kind of dedicated cardio session. So like going on a more intense run, hitting a crazy stair stepper session, just something higher intensity that you can do for at least 30 to 60 minutes. That's going to let you be a better burner and burn more calories in a shorter span of time. Everyone's phone has a built-in step tracker. Use it. Take a look at it. See how many miles you actually walked and ran for that day. Another very useful tool, Apple Watch or a Fitbit. It's great for more accurate tracking, and especially great for those times where you don't always want to have your phone in your hand or in your pocket. So kind of tying back into what I just said, you want to make it as easy as possible to be consistent. The way I achieve this is a combination of everything I just mentioned and just the specific kind of cardio I do itself. So I wear my Apple Watch while I'm on the treadmill, and I set it up in my air-conditioned room, 62 degrees with a fan blowing blowing on me right in front of the TV and play video games or watch YouTube while I'm on there. And then the treadmill is like right there, spot in the middle of my room. So every time I'm in my room, I see the treadmill and it's just glaring at me like, you better get your steps in today. Like when I'm sitting around doing nothing and there's a treadmill right there staring at me, it makes like the barrier of entry to just hop on the treadmill a lot lower. Of course, not everyone just has a treadmill set up in the middle of their room, but think about how you can apply these concepts to your own routine. Another little pointer is metabolic adaptation. So the way I've heard a lot of people think metabolic adaptation works is like you eat 1,000 calories for 2 weeks and then like all of a sudden your metabolism is ruined or something, and now you have to eat like 200 calories in order to lose weight because your metabolism adapted or something. That's not exactly right. I can kind of see how that makes sense and where that might have come from, but how metabolic adaptation actually works is as your weight decreases, the amount of calories required, like physically, the amount of energy needed to keep you at that weight decreases as your weight gets lower. Put it this way, a semi-truck, ginormous, takes more fuel and more energy to move than a Honda Civic. So if for some reason you're like 100 pounds, first of all, stop cutting. But to make it a little bit easier to understand, let's just say you're like 100 pounds and you're trying to lose weight and you're eating 2,000 calories and you dieted all the way down from like 200 pounds. Of course, you're not going to keep losing weight because of metabolic adaptation. 2,000 calories is going to be too high for you to keep losing weight. So you're dieting wrong. No way, bro. I'm on the broccoli diet. I'm only eating broccoli and I'm getting in like 400 calories a day, but my abs still aren't showing. Well, my friend, your calories are just way too low. So this assumes that you're actually losing weight, but you're not seeing the results you want. You're not making any progress towards getting shredded despite the number on the scale going down. This is a little bit more rare, but I do see it. I've even seen it in 1 or 2 of my coaching clients, first link in the description if you want to be one of them, where their weight loss strategy and nutrition is really off point on top of inadequate training, and because they're losing muscle at the same rate that they're losing fat, their body fat percentage is getting maintained. So if you think about percentages, if you lose 1 pound of muscle for every pound of fat you lose, the percentage isn't really going to get affected, and your weight, sure, it's going to be lower, but you're not going to have a great look. You're not going to get shredded, which ties into our next point. Everything has calories in it, including protein. And if your calories are too low, because protein has calories in it, it's going to be physically impossible for you to hit your protein. It's like, how the fuck are you fitting 180 grams of protein into 500 calories? Oh, you physically can't. I think protein has like 4 calories per gram or something. I don't know, but with some basic math, it's pretty easy to see how there's some problems arising. So protein is important, but it's even more important when you're losing weight as opposed to maintaining your weight or increasing your weight. So protein is not the only molecule that your body can use to facilitate muscle growth. When you're eating enough to maintain your weight or even increase your weight, your body has a lot of extra carbs and fats to play with when it comes to repairing muscle tissue. And remember, your heart is a muscle too, and you're using it 24/7. So when your heart is like, yo, I kind of need some protein for just some basic repair and maintenance. Hey, wait a minute, brain, there's no protein in me. Do you have any protein? Oh, you're my brain. Probably shouldn't take any from there. Hey, giant bulging gut, do you have any oh, you're just fat tissue? I mean, it's not really what I need. I kind of need some protein molecules, like desperately. Oh, yeah, biceps. Yeah, you got some protein in it. Let me just take some from there. But if you're getting enough protein to where everything is saturated, everything's getting enough protein to be repaired, you're not going to lose out on nearly as much size as if you kept your protein intake higher. So level 1 of this is just hitting your protein goal to begin with. To get your protein goal, you want to consume 1 gram per pound of lean body mass. So if you're 200 pounds and 25% body fat, you subtract the 25% body fat and you're left with 150 pounds of lean mass. So for you, your protein intake should be about 150 grams a day. Then level 2 of this, to squeeze out the most results possible, you want to spread your protein out evenly throughout the day. So on like the lowest end of optimization, you eat all your protein at the very end of the day, like 150 grams of protein for dinner. Ideal situation, you evenly spread your protein out across about 3 or 4 meals. It gives your body more even spikes and like an influx of muscle protein synthesis throughout the day, maintaining a more steady rate of muscle growth and repair, which is what we want for big muscles. And then of course, make sure you're following an actual resistance training regimen. If you're watching this, I hope you're in the gym regularly or doing some kind of consistent resistance training. If you don't give your body a reason to keep the muscle while you're losing weight, or even grow a little bit depending on your level of training, your body's just gonna be like, fuck this muscle tissue that's burning burning a lot of calories just by existing because muscle tissue is active and burns more calories than fat. Good little piece of motivation to build more muscle mass. You can eat more while maintaining your weight. If you're not training and providing that stimulus, your body is going to get rid of that active tissue because it doesn't want to starve to death. Your body is smart and it knows that starving is bad. And then last little bit here, if you watch through all that and you're like, I mean, I think I'm doing everything right. It doesn't sound like I'm doing anything wrong so far. This whole thing is assuming you're losing weight still, by the way, and you're not making progress towards getting shredded. Well, then you're probably training wrong because that's like the only thing left here. If you're going to the gym and doing like 2 bicep curls and leaving, you're not giving your body adequate stimulus in order to maintain, or possibly, if you're newer to the gym and have good diet and training, build muscle mass. So maybe reevaluate your routine, or click on the second link in the description and sign up to save 20% off on my program when it releases in like 2 weeks. Lean mass. Sad but true. Burn. Burn, 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 burn. You guys know that song? Fucking loser. Everyone knows Metallica. So this again is assuming you're going for that kind of like athletic, slightly muscular, or just jacked and shredded kind of build. If you just want to be a stick figure, then this probably doesn't apply to you. But essentially the idea here is you just aren't jacked enough. You don't have enough lean muscle mass for it to be worth pursuing becoming shredded. First of all, like I mentioned earlier, being at a higher weight, having more muscle mass especially, increases the amount of calories you burn at rest. So naturally, the lower you diet down, the lower you're trying to get your weight to be, the harder it's going to be and the stricter of a diet you're going to have to adhere to actually become shredded. In other words, dieting down to 130 pounds lean is going to take a lot less food and is going to be a lot stricter than dieting down to 200 pounds lean. So going off that second bullet point there, I'm 5'9" and I kind of set like this 160 pounds rule where I don't like to go below 160 pounds. If I'm trying to really see where I'm at, really push the limits, I'll go to like 155 pounds maybe. I don't like to diet long enough or eat such little food to where I have to go below 155 pounds. For my goals, I need to have enough muscle mass to be at about 160 pounds lean minimum. And if you're curious as to how I came up with that, stay tuned for the next slide. So again, metabolic rate, we just went over that. The higher your weight, the more calories are going to be required for you to stay at that weight. So essentially the solution here is if you're dieting at 130 pounds, say you're like 5'7", 5'8" or something, and you're trying to get shredded and you're wanting that muscular look, you're actually going the wrong way. Your weight is too low for it to even be worth it. If you have this kind of like skinny fat build, yet you're still fairly light, it's just going to be way more effective for you to go on a bulking phase instead of trying to diet down, chasing a six-pack by eating dust and lint, just to get a look that you don't really want anyways. So go on a mass gaining phase, increase your weight a little bit, put on some muscle, so that way you can kind of earn the right to cut in the future and achieve the look that you want. Next up is just patience. So for starters, you need to weigh in daily. Weighing in less frequently is going to lead to less accurate data, so weight fluctuations are going to have a bigger impact. In other words, if you weigh in like once a week or like once every 5 days or something, if one day, for example, you have a little bit more food towards bed, it might look like the scale actually went up that week instead of down, and you're wondering why you're even dieting if you're not losing weight. So weigh in daily and then do some math. If you're dieting, you probably already know, but if not, use an online calculator, find out what your estimated maintenance calories is. On top of that, tack on the calories that you're burning from cardio and exercise, see how much you're eating, and then compare your projected deficit to the amount of weight that you're actually losing every week on the scale through weekly averages. That was kind of a lot, so I'm going to explain a little bit more. Basically, if you think that you're supposed to be in a 500 calorie deficit by eating 2,000 calories every day, then theoretically you should be losing a pound per week. But let's say over the span of 3 weeks, you consistently lose 2 pounds a week eating 2,000 calories a day. What the fuck? I was supposed to be in a 500 calorie deficit. Well, one, we know that our data is pretty fucking accurate because we recorded it through weekly averages, so we really are losing like 2 pounds a week. In other words, we're not actually in a 500 calorie deficit. Our estimate of our deficit here was completely wrong. We're actually in a 1,000 calorie deficit. So you can now take that real world data and make adjustments to your diet and training to achieve the speed of weight loss and results that you're actually looking for. Next up, plateaus are normal. Again, metabolic adaptation, maybe just some water retention here and there, you're gonna have weight loss plateaus. The number on the scale is not the end all be all. But also at the same time is that if you have a consistent plateau across like a week or two, then that real world data might be a sign that you need to make some kind of adjustment to your diet and routine, maybe decrease the calories a little bit, increase the cardio here and there. That way you continue losing weight. And then as I hinted at on the last slide, consider how you actually want to look. What is your true end goal? Are you trying to look like fucking Esknor? Well, in that case, you're probably gonna need to do a lot of bulking. Or you're just looking for that like lean, toji kind of physique. You can actually actually go online and find pictures of people at your height that have different body compositions. So in the past, what I did was I went online, typed in like 5'9" or 5'8" because I got taller over time, and then I looked at people at different weights and different body fat percentages, and then used that to gauge what my true end goal should be. So for example, go online and find like 5'9", 165 pounds, and 12% body fat. Damn, that looks pretty fucking good. I think I want to look like that. Well, with that in mind, if you're 150 pounds at 5'9", you probably have a bulking phase to go on to achieve that look. Another thing you should take into account is how similar the person you're looking at's muscle insertions and just overall build is to you. Even if they're the same height as you, they might have some differences in their frame, so just try to look at people that are as similar to you as possible. There's a shocking amount of data and like dedicated websites for this and Reddit posts and stuff that you can look at to try and come up with a goal for yourself. Really, just like choose your character, bro. Just pick the one that looks the coolest to you and make that your goal. Another thing to consider too is the journey to getting there. For example, if you're starting with a little bit of excess fat and you're okay with keeping a little bit more fat on you, then it's perfectly fine to just go straight into a bulking phase. But if you value being lean, you want to be shredded, you want to get some girls on the beach or something, and you want to stay fairly lean while you're bulking, you're kind of similar to me, then dieting down and getting peeled and getting shredded before you go on a mass gaining phase is going to be a lot more valuable. And then that's also going to affect your approach when it comes to gaining size. So for me, a more moderate calorie surplus and staying very controlled with weight gain and mass gaining phases is going to be really beneficial to maintain a really good look year round. Takeaways, so I hate to say it, but if you were one of my coaching clients or you had my program, a lot of these problems would be completely mitigated and you would have the knowledge and one-on-one guidance to where a lot of these situations would be impossible to get yourself into in the first place. So if you want to support me or you just think it would be beneficial to you, check out the links in the description. Take a look at my coaching scheduling portal, schedule your first call for free, and you can put in your email in the second link in the description to save 20% off on my program when it releases. Anyways, mindset and motivation, again, you want to assess your actual goals here. Like, how do you actually want to look? What weight do you want to be at? Why do you even want to get in good shape? Like, why are you doing this to begin with? Keeping that in mind is going to help you stay motivated and it's going to help you stay locked on to that goal that you set for yourself. The reason itself doesn't matter. It just has to be important to you, whether it's just for getting girls, you just think it would be cool to look like an anime character, whatever the fuck it is, it just has to be important, something that you care about enough to actually pursue this. Next up, grow some balls. Jesus Christ, like if you're trying to cut and you're having like little snacky snacks and not tracking it, little fucking Reese's Pieces and shit, what the fuck are you doing? Like, you've got to have a little bit of dog in you to actually achieve what you want. It takes some discipline. It's not easy. You have to actually do the stuff that I talk about in order to get what you want. You can't just watch a video and then not make any changes and expect to get good results. So basically, you just train hard, eat in a deficit, stop cheating on your diet, stay consistent with your diet and training, weigh in daily, it helps with motivation on top of what we talked about earlier, and then eat high protein. If you're eating like 400 calories a day, I'd bet money that you're not hitting your ideal protein goal. With all that said, go ahead and subscribe. It'll help me continue to afford protein so I can be pretty and muscular for you guys. Click on all the links in the description, comment some dope shit. How about you go down in the comments and literally just comment dope shit. Once you've done that, I'll see you in the next video.